a chief market economist. Now we move on to our next news. Poland has charged a Colombian citizen with terror offenses over his alleged role in 2 arson attacks carried out on behalf of Russia. The suspect has partially admitted his guilt and could face up to lifetime imprisonment. Poland's Internal Security Agency says that the 27-year-old man, who was last month convicted of arson in the Czech Republic, was responsible for 2 fires that occurred in warehouses in central Poland last year. Reports also suggested that the incidents were part of a large-scale operation by Russia that recruited people of Latin American origin with military experience to commit arson and record the acts for use in Russian disinformation campaigns. Last year, Poland and other countries in the region suffered a series of acts of sabotage, among them a fire that destroyed Warsaw's largest shopping center. The authorities have blamed Russia, whose intelligence services recruited and hired people living in those countries, often Ukrainian and Belarusian immigrants, to carry out these attacks. Now we go back to our guest discussion with Raymond Vickery. He's a former U.S. Assistant Secretary of Commerce. Thank you, Raymond, for staying with us. Now, what's your reaction towards this news that has just come in? Have you heard anything like this before?
Well, thanks again for having me. It seems to me that the significance of this latest development in regard to Poland is that the Russian violation of the principles of the UN Charter against non-aggression, which occurred in 2022, are broader than just what happens with Ukraine. Unfortunately, Putin has the old-time mentality from the 19th century of imperial greatness, and that greatness is measured by being able to control territory and control people. Russia historically, from time to time, has had great influence in Poland and throughout Eastern Europe. And this latest development showing that agents are actually, or were actually recruited from Latin America to be able to cause harm and chaos in regard to Poland is unfortunately a part of this imperialistic mindset, which is Putin, that somehow there is a Russian right to be able to control not only Ukraine, but other areas of Eastern Europe. So this is a very alarming development. It is not of the magnitude at this time which would invoke the NATO Charter, that an attack on one is an attack on all and cause war. But if indeed Russia should persist in its ambitions in regard to Poland, in regard to the Baltic states, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, then you run into the danger of widening the war, and indeed nobody knows where such a war would end. So this is an alarming development, but it is of a piece with the Putin mindset which he has exhibited for his entire tenure.
Yes, indeed, and thank you very much for sharing that, Raymond Vickery. He is former U.S. Assistant Secretary of Commerce, joined us live from Washington. Thank you very much for staying with us throughout our news. Well, that's all we have time for.